What's up guys, my name is Bailey and welcome back to another one of my videos. In this video, I have an iPhone 14 Pro in front of you guys right now, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be draining it from 100% all the way down to 0% by playing a streamed video on YouTube. So I will be destroying my iPhone's battery so you don't have to do that to yours, so you guys can get a real life representation on how long the iPhone 14 Pro battery actually lasts. So what Apple is quoting is that it should get about 23 hours of video playback. Now obviously that's going to be in perfect conditions. We don't know exactly how they ran that test and how they got those numbers, but the way that I'm going to do it is going to be probably a little bit different than how Apple does it, so it's most likely going to be less than the 23 hours. So right now you see that I have the iPhone 14 Pro in front of me right now. It is plugged in. You guys can see when I turn it on the top right, it is charging and it is at 100%. So I will be timing everything that I do. So let's actually hop into the iPhone 14 Pro and go into the settings here. And I wanted to show you the iPhone 14 model as well as the iOS version. So I'm just blocking out the serial and model number, but you can see that the iOS version right there is 16.0.1. So it is all the way updated to the latest firmware, and the model name iPhone 14 Pro. So you can tell that this is the iPhone 14 Pro. I got this literally just a couple days ago in the mail, so this is fresh out of the box. I'm gonna actually go into my battery settings here and show you guys that the battery health of the phone is at 100%. So this is a fresh phone, so whatever it is showing in terms of the battery life drain, that's essentially what you can expect when you get a brand new phone out of the box. So that's what it is right now. Like I said, it's currently plugged in. So without any further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into YouTube, run the test, and see how long it lasts. So I have my iPad Air on the side right here. Let me grab that. I'm going to use this as a timer. So here's my iPad Air. I will leave this on the right, and periodically I'll come back and actually give you an update on what the percentage is at on the phone every hour or so. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys all the settings before I run this test. So looking right here, you guys can see that I currently do have Wi-Fi turned on. I have my cellular turned on, as well as Bluetooth. So the Bluetooth will be connected to nothing. The cellular is going to be getting about 5 Gs. So I'm going to actually turn off my Wi-Fi to show you guys that it does say 5G on the top right, and that's with T-Mobile. I'm going to turn the Wi-Fi back on because I will be using the Wi-Fi to stream because it should be getting me better quality instead of using 5G. So let me turn that back on. So Wi-Fi is currently connected with the 5G turned on. That's how most people will be using this phone. And then in terms of the temperature here, the temperature in my house is about 72 degrees. I am using the Apple case, so if you are worried about the phone throttling because it's getting too hot, this is the case I am using. It's not some generic case off of Amazon. It is the case from Apple. So that's pretty much it in terms of all the settings. I will be turning on the volume all the way up, and the ringer is going to be turned down. So if I get notifications, it won't be dinging or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn up that volume. You guys can see that it is all the way up right there. And then I'm going to hop into YouTube, and the video I'll be playing is going to be a 4K nature film that should be copyright free. It's going to be this one right here. It's nature relaxation films. So it's saying that it's 11 hours and 11 minutes. So hopefully that'll be enough time for my phone to run this test. Like I said, Apple is quoting that it can run up to 23 hours. So we'll see if I need to replay the video when it gets closer to that time. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this orientation so I can flip my phone to the side. and then click the video. And once I click the video, I'm gonna unplug this charger and hit start on the timer so that it is fully at 100%. So I'm ready to go here. Let's unplug this, hit the start timer, and let's play this video. So I'll be leaving this right here on the left while it's running, and then the timer is going to be on the right. Right now it's been at 15 seconds, so I'll come back in about an hour or so and give you guys an update on what the phone battery life is looking like. So we are currently at about 6 minutes here. One thing I forgot to mention is that I ended up turning up the brightness here. So that's just keeping it at a controlled variable because I want to see how fast we can drain it at pretty much everything maxed out. So the brightness is at 100% as well as the volume here. So I'm going to go ahead and set this back down. You guys can see that it is still at 100% with that volume all the way up. So I'm going to set this back down and let it run. So I'm back now. We just crossed the 1 hour mark there. I'm gonna turn down the volume just so you guys can hear me. Check the battery life. So you guys can see that the battery life is at 92%. The brightness there is still at 100%, and I just barely turned on the volume so you guys can hear me while I'm talking about it. So for the first hour, it only drained 8%. So if you run this math, you should be getting about 12 hours or so on one full charge. So let's go ahead and leave it running, turn the volume back up, and come back in an hour or so. So here we are just crossing the 2 hour mark, checking the battery percentage. It's saying 78%. So the first time for the first hour, it went from 100 to 92%. So that's an 8% decrease. The second hour went from 92 to 78. So that's about a 14% decrease. So doing the math on that, this should last now on average maybe a little bit under 5 hours. So that is the current battery life of the phone after 2 hours. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn up that volume, continue running this video on YouTube, the stream, and show you guys that the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular, as well as the brightness is all the way up. So let's go ahead and turn this back up and get the video continued. So here we are crossing over the 3 hour mark. Looking at the battery percentage, it is showing 64%. So that is going to be a 14% decrease from hour 2. So it is staying pretty average from the second hour and the third hour. The first hour was only 8%. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back down, let it run, and see how much more we can get out of this iPhone 14 Pro. So here we are at the 4 hour mark. Video is still playing. You can see that it does say 4 hours. Checking the battery life here, it's showing 49%. The brightness is still up, volume is still up. Let me actually turn this down so you guys can actually hear me. So it went from 64% all the way down to 49%. That's a 15% decrease. So just to recap, the first hour was minus 8%, second hour was minus 14, third hour was also minus 14, then this fourth hour is minus 15. So it is staying pretty steady from the last few hours. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the volume back up and let it run. So here we are coming up on the 5th hour. We are currently sitting at 34% on the iPhone 14 Pro. You guys can see it on the top right. The brightness is still pulled up. I turned on the volume just so you guys can hear me. And even on the YouTube video, just barely past the 5-hour mark right there. So from the last hour check-in, from 49%, it went down to 34%, so that's another 15% decrease from the last check-in. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this for another hour or so, come back, but it has depleted about 3/4 of the battery, so we'll see what happens in the next couple hours. So here we are coming close to 6 hours and 30 minutes. Now the reason why I did not stop it at 6 hours is because there are some issues with my camera. So I decided just to let it go to 30-minute mark just to kind of give you a closer even number instead of doing like 6 hours and 4 minutes. So as of right now, the battery on the phone is sitting at 12, or actually 11%. It was 12% just a little bit before this. So 11% at 6 hours and 30 minutes. So that's going to be a 23% decrease from the last time I did it at hour 5. So I'm going to let this run for another 30 minutes and get it back to the hour mark at 7 hours, and then we can double check the battery life. I did not do the low power mode. I did skip out on doing the low power mode because I wanted to do a full test on no low power mode. So if you guys end up needing a low power mode, just know that you will probably get more battery life out of it versus not doing low power mode. So I'm going to go ahead and just let this go for another 30 minutes. We are here at the 7-hour mark, and the battery percentage on the iPhone 14 Pro is showing 4%. That is going to be a 8% decrease from the 6.5-hour mark. So in 7 hours, you pretty much drained 96% of your battery life. I'm gonna let the camera run for the last 4%. There's no low power mode on it. So this should last a couple more minutes, so we'll wait and see how much longer it can last to the dot. So 5 minutes in, 3%. Went down 1%. So this might actually last another 20 minutes or so. Minutes in, let's check the battery percentage. It's at 1%. So any minute now it will die. We're gonna get it right down to the wire here. So the timer is gonna be on the right, iPhone 14 Pro on the left. So let's give it a couple more minutes and we'll see when it will completely die, and we'll stop this timer to give a total amount of time it takes to drain a iPhone 14 Pro from 100% to 0%. So there you have it, guys. 7 hours, 15 minutes, and 23 seconds is what it takes to drain an iPhone 14 Pro from 100% to 0% on one battery charge. So the phone itself is not too terribly hot. It is a little warm, but it's not so hot that you shouldn't be touching it. So I'd say the heat dissipation on it is pretty good. but you guys can see that the iPhone 14 Pro will not even turn on. So hopefully this video helped you guys. Maybe it gives you some ideas whether or not this phone can last a full work day. It does last 7 hours and 15 minutes, so that gives you an idea as to how long you can use this phone continuously running a streamed video. If you're not going to be continuously running a streamed video, I have no doubt that this will last you a full day. If it's a school day or even a work day, this phone will definitely give you enough juice. But if you do want that extra battery to it, you guys can always opt for the iPhone Pro Max, and that will give you a few more hours, according to Apple, of extra battery life. But that's pretty much it for the iPhone 14 Pro battery drain. I do have the iPhone 14 here coming in the mail, so if you guys want to see that battery drain, stay tuned for that. My next video will probably be a charge from 0% to 100%, so you guys know exactly how long it takes to charge this iPhone 14 Pro from dead to 100% capacity. If you guys have any questions about this video, feel free to leave it down in the comment section down below. If you guys enjoyed it, please feel free to thumbs up this video so that this can make the SEO better and also get this to more people who want to purchase an iPhone 14 Pro. But like always, if you guys have any questions, drop it down there, and I'll catch you guys all in the next video. Peace.